It's time for the news review segment where we get to have a conversation on some of the topical issues and invite you to join this conversation via WhatsApp lines. Send us your thoughts, your comments and contributions. You can also join us on socials and drop a comment there, like, share, subscribe. We're live on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're interactive on X, we're engaging on Instagram, and you can enjoy some video content from ChannelOne TV on TikTok as well. Don't forget, you can get relevant, factual, accurate news on our website, channelonenewsonline.com, as well as citynewsroom.com. In studio, I have two gentlemen seated. Elvis Dakon is a journalist. He is the editor of the News Center newspaper, newscenter.com. And joining him is the Honorable Abdul Fattah Al-Hassan, Member of Parliament for Yendi. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
It's good to have you.
Good morning, Nana. Good morning to your cherished viewers, and good morning to the good people of Yendi.
What about the bad people?
They are both actually supposed to receive this good morning. Both the good and the bad.
And the bad, because they all make up the constituency.
I tell you.
All right, we'll start from the Bawku piece, but if like the mediation process and the report that was submitted to the president by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II after the conclusion of that mediation process. The government has endorsed the report and subsequently set up a 1 billion cedi revitalization fund to rebuild Bawku. And this comes as some good news for us. Honorable, I'll start with you. The mediation process itself, the subsequent presentation of the report, and the government's endorsement of saying, and this 1 billion cedi revitalization fund. How much of a relief does this bring to us as a people?
Well, once again, and good morning, and good morning to Elvis as well. Thank you so much. I think it came as a major relief, and coming from that part of the country, the issue in Bawku is one that continues to remain a scar. It remains as a scar on our conscience. We have seen the Otumfuo-led mediation team. We've seen them do a lot in the past. In fact, the Otumfuo was the one who also championed the resolution of the Dagbon chieftaincy issue, and we have always remained indebted to him since the report was submitted. You've seen that the Dagbon has never been the same. We've had one Yana, and both sides have recognized him, and we are all working with him to build a better Dagbon. And I expect same in respect of Bawku. The team started, and we are all following the news issues of their meetings in Bawku and all the things that came with it.
Right. All right. Well, I'll come back to you, but let me go to Elvis real quick on Bawku itself. And if you look at the years or the prolonged conflict and the impact it has had on the economy of the place, education of the place, health sector of the place, how important is it that government sets up this fund to rebuild the town or the area?
Well, the point is 1 billion cedis. It's a good move, but it's a drop in the ocean compared to even the losses as you have actually established.
True.
The economic losses and all the last count we did was that over 300 lives have been lost.
Yeah.
1 billion cedis cannot buy even one life.
Not a single one.
So if over 300 lives have been lost in that area, all because of this conflict, that's the lives lost alone.
Yeah.
So enormous. And you are talking about economic loss. Whilst businesses will not want to even have anything to go and do at the place. Education, health, doctors and health professionals will not want to be posted there. And as a result, people who need health care may be dying needlessly because then they don't have inadequate staff for health. Education down because a lot of teachers will not want to accept posting. So obviously, if you look at if you want to calculate the actual impact, okay, not forgetting the billions the state itself has sunk in there just to maintain some level of peace. Clearly, the conflict has caused enormous losses to the Bawku people compared to the 1 billion that the state wants to invest there. This 1 billion that is going to be invested, if you look at it clearly, if that conflict had not happened and all that we have enumerated had not been lost, probably the gains that Bawku would have made will be far higher than this 1 billion. So conflict does not bring anything positive to any group of people, irrespective of what is the cause of the conflict. Bottom line is everybody is a loser. Everybody, including the leaders who are fueling it, they are all losers, because everybody in one way or the other will lose something in a conflict area. And therefore the 1 billion to revitalize the place is a good move. But if they will give peace a chance, and then the state investment in protecting the peace, the losses they themselves are incurring because their businesses, their life, in all aspects of their lives have been affected. If they'll give peace a chance, they will be doing better. I've said that if we're investing the monies we're using to protect the peace in the area alone, in that Bawku township, probably Bawku will be like maybe Dubai, because we invest billions and billions to make sure that we maintain some level of peace at the place. And this 1 billion that the state wants to invest, if they don't give a peace a chance, the investment will still go down the drain, because the government will invest the money to in whichever areas that it has to be invested. But because there is no peace, the expected impact that investment is supposed to make, it will not make. Probably even some of the things that the money will be used to do in the area may end up being destroyed by warring factions anytime the conflict escalates. So the government is doing everything possible to make sure that the peace returns. It is the people who are refusing to give peace a chance. And if you look at the response from the Nairi, for instance, what we have read, if that is the official response from them, then it means that peace is not something that we should expect, because the tone of the response shows that they are not even interested in what has come up, because they will not abide by it, because they've actually in their statement like a total condemnation of what has happened, whatever the Otunfo and the eminent people have done. That response from the Nairi, if that is indeed from him, is just like they just rubbished everything that has happened. It means that they are still holding on to their position, and as long as they are holding on to their position, that is what leads to the needed conflict that we have seen. And for me, we have said it here over and over that probably mediation is one way. We should also be considering so many options, and I thought that we even said it here that is it possible that the chieftaincy leadership could rotate among the two, if they will buy that if this chief is no more, the next key chief should be the other. If that is what will bring peace, fine. If so many things need to be considered. If there has to be some probably looking at how the traditional council is constituted, so that there will be a balance of power at the traditional council, so that if that is what to give them some feeling that they are all at par, and will give them that confidence that they can let the conflict go, because now they feel that no one is above the other. If the reconstitution of the traditional council in the area could create that power that they are all looking for, and if that will bring some peace, we should think about it. We should try and find something that will please both sides, so that the pain they have and the anger and everything can go. If it gets to a point where the state thinks that the only way to bring peace is to look at even demarcation of the land, and put one on one side and say you will be here, and put the military something in between, and say, look, we fought this thing for all these decades, it has not worked, so the state had decided that the entire land that you people have fighting to be the overlord, we are dividing into two. This group be here, this group be here. Put a military barracks, some gate or some wall in between and says, for peace to reign, this is where you belong. I'm not saying that that's what they should. I'm just saying that as a people, if you look at the duration that this war, this conflict has taken, and as you said, when we counted the death toll just like in the past 2 decades, and we are talking about over 300 lives lost. And even those 300 lives lost, it's about those that have actually been counted.
Yes.
The many that have been killed that have not even been counted are not part of that number. And we are looking at the economic losses and everything, and the drain it is having on the state-owned budget, where we have to sink so much money into peacekeeping in the area. Probably if the mediation we have done over and over, and we are still having this heat from one side, then let's ponder over other options and see and see how we can bring peace. Because see, just that small area that is not having peace, and the state is having to spend so much money to keep it. Can you imagine if it escalates to other areas, like as we've seen when the recent escalation, it started all the way to Kumasi, where they were even fighting among themselves. I remember the Kokomba and Numba War, we sit in Accra here and they were killing themselves at the Kokomba Yam market here in Accra. So some of these things, I think that the mediation we've done over and over, what the team has done, fantastic. Government response, fantastic. But the response from one faction shows that clearly for them, they are not going to work with what has been decided. So long as one faction is not satisfied, the possibility of what has happened is happened. Is it time for the state to do enforcement in one way or the other to say that, look, we think that this is the correct position and that whatever it takes, this is what the state wants to bring some people. I think something has to be done, because we cannot continue in perpetuity and trying to please both sides, and one side will come and say, I'm not happy, and then back and forth, back and forth. In fact, if that response has not come, I would have been speaking differently, but I was really hit by the response from the other side.
Right, Elvis, thank you. Honorable, let me come back to you so you can conclude on your
okay, so in respect of the matter in Bawku, it's a little different from, for instance, what pertained in Yendi, the issue that we had in Yendi, which led to the final resolution by Otumfuo. The issue in Bawku is in two folds. One has to do with the land ownership matters, and the other is to do with chieftaincy rights. You understand? And so, some of the, for instance, some of the solutions or the suggestions and alternatives being suggested by Elvis here could work in the, or those solutions work in respect of the Dagbon one, but they cannot work in respect of the Bawku one. Because, for instance, you can talk about rotation, because it has to do with who owns the land.
Okay.
And so if the mediation and the Supreme Court decisions have come to one conclusion that it is these people who own the land, how can they now even be seen to be rotating
the
ownership of that land or the chieftaincy title in that land with you? You understand? And so we can only plead with Nairi and the other side that does not seem to be satisfied with the outcome of the mediation to let peace reign. Sometimes in situations like this, you don't go in necessarily to win. And if you look at the Otumfuo report, it gives a suggestion that it can only reaffirm what the Supreme Court had already said several years ago, and that it does not intend to muddy anything or muddy the waters. And so if the Supreme Court in their wisdom has come to a conclusion, which conclusion has been there, and you know, this decision has been there since 1950. And so if the Supreme Court has made pronouncements on it, and then we are not satisfied, and we now have this matter referred to Otumfuo, that was in early this year. They started work, I think, somewhere in April 2025, and by December they are done. So if we have them also coming to the same conclusion as the Supreme Court did. Now, these are two major institutions. In fact, usually when we have conflict, we go to two major institutions, the traditional setup, and then the courts. So, and now I don't even know where we can go to if these two institutions don't resolve this matter, the traditional setup has come with one, or the courts have come with one conclusion, all the way to the Supreme Court. There's a decision on it, and that is one conclusion. And that same conclusion has been arrived at or affirmed by the traditional setup. So if you have these two institutions coming to the one and only one conclusion, and still we have one side that says it is still not satisfied, I don't know what other structure can take over the matter. And so the Ghanaians, we are on our knees, and the establishment of the Bawku Revitalisation Fund is one that should be commended. Money cannot be the solution to the problems. For instance, we've talked about the lives that have been lost, the deprivation they have suffered over the years, because trust me, development cannot go to this area because of the issues of conflict. Teachers cannot be, even the president even mentioned that even national service personnel do not even want to be posted. Almost everybody there is leaving the town. And so if you have a situation like, and I always tell the people of Bawku that, to me, they have had one of the best moments in their history. To have one of you being the leader of government business. He's more than a minister. Mama Yerga, as we speak, is more than a minister. And so if you have somebody like that, Mama Yerga, by his status, can command almost every sector of the Ghanaian economy to move to Bawku. They can have energy ministry going, trade ministry going, finance ministry going, agri going. You understand? And they can all go and do something huge for you people. And so if we have this golden moment, let's seize the opportunity. Maybe tomorrow we'll wake up and Mama Yerga is no more the majority leader. And now you are coming to even and say we now want peace, or we have peace in Bawku. What can we then gain? And so let's take opportunity of this chance we have and embrace peace. The Nigerian should accept that as a father. In fact, he's our grandfather, and so he should just. It's not about who wins and who loses. Look, if the verdict is that the current chief, the Bawku Naba, should be recognized, and that the one you have installed should be brought back to Nalergu or the Mampose land. Let's just respect it, and then at least for the peace of the area and for the development of the area. And trust me, Bawku, the Mampose and the Kusasis are so interconnected. And so the development of one area will definitely come to the other. And so the same way, conflicts and disturbances in one area will spill over. In fact, if not for by the timely intervention of the security, and even by God's intervention, we would have had this issue, because we're seeing some of these issues manifesting in Wali and Nalergu and all those things. You remember the students who were killed, a student was killed even in the Nalergu nursing school and all those things. So these things are things we should manage. We shouldn't see that. We shouldn't see it as who has won and who has lost. And so let's respect the decision of 2-4. And then the fund, let's get the management of the fund to put the fund into good use. And lastly, the government also has a responsibility of being firm on the ground. Sometimes, if you see that diplomacy is not yielding the results we all desire, you just have to use the powers of the state and be firm and let the decision that stands today work, so that people, because the state cannot afford to also be losing or pumping in resources into this and losing lives and losing other things and all those. And so the state has to have an interest. It shouldn't just be that the people must agree to have peace, even if at this point we are seeing that it's difficult. Let's see how the state too can come in and be firm on some of this. Let's make sure that we push everybody and pull everybody along to accept this outcome, and then we can have a lasting peace in Bawku, and then the entire country can also heave a sigh of relief.
Very well. Thank you, Honorable. Let's say good morning to the Honorable Isaac Boamanyako, Member of Parliament for Efia.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, we're dealing with the matter of the Bawku mediation and the report submitted to the President, the subsequent endorsement of same, and the setting up of a 1 billion CD revitalization fund. We've looked at the impact the conflict itself has had in the area, how much of a relief this report and this fund should bring to the area going forward. So we'll pick your thoughts on this matter.
Thank you very much, Nana, and a very good morning to our cherished viewers, and to my brother and Elvis. Good to have you all on the show. And also, you know, we are entering into the Christmas, and Christmas is in Takoradi.
Yeah.
Don't forget that when it comes to Christmas,
Yeah.
all routes leads to the Western region.
Anyway, we are doing the route for them, so.
Yeah,
they're all routes, so I'm just reminding them
convenient travel.
So we don't have routes to Takrady. We had it already and they got destroyed.
But before we come to Takrady, we are bringing one of your own to our Situation All White Party. So Kofi Kenyatta will be performing at the Situation All White Party. That's on 24th.
That's on 24th.
Yes.
You know, before he steps out of the Western Region 20 party, he has to do his show.
Indeed.
So on the 20th, which is Saturday, he's having the Made in Tadi show.
Right.
And that is the biggest event to start the Christmas. And actually tomorrow too, he's doing an impact program for the youth in the Western region at Planters Lodge. I'm supposed to be in Takrady tomorrow morning.
He does so well with that. He does so
yes,
well.
yes, trying to see how best we can also engage the youth and let them see that any little thing that they do or commit to do, they can move from the small community to the global level.
Indeed.
So congratulations to Kofi on that. Let me just go straight to the issue at stake, which has to do with the peace in Bawku and the report from Otumfuo. Nana, it's not been an easy journey. As a country, if we talk of one of the key issues that can destabilize this country, it is the case in Bawku.
True.
And we even thank God that we have this peace in this country up till today, where Otumfuo's mediation report has been submitted to His Excellency the President. Various governments over the years have made efforts to try and resolve the Bawku conflict. I remember even from President Kufuor's time, efforts were made. You know, it was left initially to the people to try and deal with the matter. And then it went to court. The court gave its determination on the matter. But of course, because some section of the people were unhappy, and you know, the court can always give its verdict. But as to whether the court can enforce its decision is another thing, because the enforcement has to be done by the executive.
True.
And so if the executive, also looking at issues on the ground, finds it difficult to enforce decisions of the court, then it creates a lot more instability, as we have seen over the years. Thankfully, Otumfuo's His Majesty was invited to try and bring finality or mediate in this matter. And even when the mediation was ongoing, a lot, because the parties were involved in the mediation process, people could anticipate what the possible outcomes would be. And so the satisfaction will cause one skirmish here or the other, which my brother talked about, people being chased, people being taken out of vehicles, people being killed in their schools, and it all created a whole lot of messy situation for us as a people. And then the report has now been delivered to His Excellency the President. The findings are far-reaching. First and foremost, Otumfuo tried to go along the Supreme Court's decision. You know, and that is key, because if a party send matters to court and the court at the highest level makes a determination based on the facts before them, it will be very, very dangerous for another body, like a traditional authority, to say otherwise against, unless you go through the same judicial process to overturn the decision that has been made by the Supreme Court. And so Otumfuo was caught in that web. But why not? Because he also, from a very experienced traditional point of view, having reviewed the history and the background and all of that, the team were convinced that that is the proper way to position it. But before getting into those conclusions, people have interest. People have paraded themselves as either kinsmen or people with entitlement to the throne of the Kusasi land, amongst others. And so I think the biggest plea, if you check the Otumfuo report, the biggest plea goes to the Nairi. because he is supposed to be the overlord of the entire kingdom or paramountcy. And so leadership is calling on him to respect this particular position and bring all parties on board to respect the decision. And it's a difficult one on him because he has tried to also acknowledge someone other than the Bawku Naba. And so going to reverse that needs a lot more. But what do we want as a country? It's peace. Yeah. We have allowed this conflict to, if you check the cost of managing the Bawku conflict, if we had invested that money to the development of the area, I'm sure Bawku would have become nicer than even Laboni.
True.
If you check the cost of providing security for the security personnel and all of that, the logistics, the intelligence, all the money that has gone into this Bawku conflict, it would have fundamentally changed the narrative in terms of economic activities, to the extent that even when it comes to public service servants and service delivery, all of them had to run away from the community. Indeed. So how were they going to, and you can't even post officials to Bawku, and it all affected the well-being of the people. So I think as a country, we've come very far. This is where the traditional authority led by Otumfuo has also situated the thing. Government has given its complete endorsement to the recommendations of the committee. So it goes beyond now any mediation process. Now it is about enforcing and making sure that parties abide by the recommendation and then the verdicts of government. And so I expect His Excellency the President, the security operatives amongst others, to be on the ground and see how best they can also enforce the peace that we want to see in Bawku. At the end of the day, it is totality of Ghana that wants the well-being of the good people of Bawku. And I believe all of us on this table and Ghanaians will be very, very happy to see how we move beyond the decision of the president to see to life coming back to Bawku. Bawku is an important component of this country when it comes to even trade facilitation from the north Burkina Faso area down to Ghana. And so there's a lot of development that can go on. The president has established 1 billion fund to promote the speedy development of Bawku. It will all come to their conduct and how they behave beyond this, so that this country can move on, and we pray that peace will prevail in Bawku. Let me also bring this to our majority leader is the member of parliament. I'm sure a lot has gone on in terms of engaging him, because a lot of people also believe that part of the situation or the problem has certain people connected to him and the political arrangement.
Always be there.
Exactly, because he cannot satisfy everybody within that area. So I would also plead with our majority leader as the member of parliament for Bawku to also take advantage of this particular position that we have now and rally everybody along. This is not a political issue. It is a traditional and a chieftaincy matter. So we shouldn't make it a political matter, because the moment we play politics with it, the peace that we want in Bawku can never happen.
Very well.
Thank you.
Very well. Very well. Al-Haji, good morning, my brother. 1 million Ghana cedis fund to the good people of Bawku is welcoming news. I hope and pray that the funds will be managed well in the interest of the people of Bawku. And then also, he also has a plea that the people of Bawku should give peace a chance. Right. You can also send in your messages. Let us know your thoughts. Elvis, I don't know if you have anything else to say on this Bawku matter.
Yeah,
If
I
not,
think
then
my brother had just hit the nail by talking about the political angle.
Yeah,
you understand?
the politics. Yeah.
During the last election, the current president was on political platforms and was saying that if NDC is in power, the Bawku is in peace. If NPP in power, that there's always violence to Bawku. Which was very false. It wasn't true. Because during his first 4 years, the entire Bawku has been under curfew for the 4 years because there was so much violence in the place. So if you haven't gone through that process, you don't use the need for vote. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't go for vote. No, but the political angle is very important. Because if you were president, you knew what happened, and because of vote, you go and say that when your party is in power, there's peace, and your party is in power, there's violence.
Right.
You see, so let's treat the issue as a tribal issue, okay? A tribal issue rather than politics.
Let's not take advantage of the situation.
When you are looking for votes, then you go and play the political card.
Right.
And then you make the people feel that in case you win, you are going to favor a particular side. And then you win and there's violence. And now you are begging the Otunfo and Co to go and mediate. Who caused it? You understand it? Because the truth of the matter is that people would want to use politics to make sure that the conflict continues. Because the conflict, as we see, though we are talking about all the losses, there are some few people who are benefiting from this conflict. Every conflict has people who are benefiting behind and who will never want it to end. And the moment you introduce politics, you give those people the free hand to operate. And that is why we have to treat this issue that it's not a political issue. And Alhaji was saying that, chieftaincy is about ownership of the land. I understand. That is what we all have. But see, nobody created the land. The Almighty created the land and we inhabited it. You understand it? So if it's about ownership of the land, and if a proposal to say, look, we think that with what has happened, both clans can claim ownership of this land because of the historic
that stage. So I'm telling you that the Supreme Court decision took it.
But the Supreme Court decision has not worked. We can't enforce it because we believe that enforcing it will lead to more chaos.
Yeah.
The reason we can't enforce the Supreme Court decision is that we realize that enforcing the Supreme Court will bring more chaos. Because when the National Security do their own analysis, they will tell you that attempting to implement this Supreme Court ruling will not end it. It will rather escalate. That is why the chief that was installed. Remember the former, there was an attempt to go and arrest him.
Yeah.
But National Security Assessment said that, look, going to arrest that gentleman will rather worsen the situation. So at that material moment, arresting the gentleman is not an option. So you see, this issue, the Supreme Court ruling, if it could be a solution, we wouldn't have been where we are. Because the Supreme Court ruling came many years back.
Right.
But per security analysis and assessment, they believe that enforcing the Supreme Court will only anger the other side of the faction who felt that they have lost, and it will worsen the problem. So then the state decided that we cannot say we are doing a direct enforcement. So you see, courts may give a ruling, but in this case, the question is enforcing the will it bring peace or it will escalate the situation, which I believe the National Security Assessment shows that enforcing will bring escalation. That is why the Supreme Court ruling is there, but it's not being enforced. Yeah. So as I said, if we can I'm just thinking aloud. If we can say, look, with the situation we are now, you keep losing your own family members. Yeah. If we can accept that, look, it's about power and control. It's about to say, if I'm the owner of the land, I'm supposed to be the overlord. But we think that because of colonial interventions, and you see, it was in the Otunfo report that he accepts that due to certain actions by colonial masters, it has created certain distortions. And now correcting those distortions now have become very difficult. Right. So if we agree that all these things have played a role and going back to the past to go and correct it will be a problem. And therefore, let's agree that where you are occupying as the land, stay there, you stay here. The now problem will be about who is the overlord. And we think that the best thing to bring peace will be, let's alternate it, alternate. Or let's create a traditional council system that gives both areas a power, give them a certain authority, so that if that will bring peace and the two sides will buy into that and we'll have our peace, why not?
Very well.
Why not? It is peace we are looking for. We should know that in such conflicts, difficult conflict situations, what we would say that this should be the normal thing may not work. It is some abnormal proposal sometimes that you even think may not work. That when it's put on the table, you realize that both sides now agree that, we think that doing this thing will work. So we should look beyond the normal way we think it should be resolved. Let's people bring some abnormal ideas that we think that we can fly around and see how the two sides will respond to it. If we say rotate the paramountcy and both of them will agree, okay, now if we rotate the paramountcy, this one will serve, and after this one, we will like it. Or let's create a traditional council system where both chiefs have been elevated to be apart in terms of power and control. Because now they hear me their lands separately. And they have intermarriages and all those things that have made them even like one people now. So we must find a certain middle point where both of them can say we can work with this. That's the only way that will be. Why we want to still insist that this is the owner of the land and this and that. That is what the Supreme Court has said that we can't enforce, because we realize that the will of what the people are thinking is different from what the Supreme Court has said. And therefore, enforcing the Supreme Court ruling will even worsen the situation.
Okay, Elvis, thank you. Thank you. Let's move to this matter of the relief we're giving to Jamaica, and of course the deployment of our Ghanaian Forces engineers to help in rebuilding the country after it was battered by Hurricane Melissa. We've seen the level of destruction there, and of course we know, if you like, the credentials of our engineers here in the Ghana Armed Forces. But the minority, you are demanding rules of engagement of the troops. You are asking for detailed explanation of the, if you like, items donated worth 10 million cedis. You are being told that it's out of our humanitarian, if you like, tendencies. That's why we are doing some of these things. Should that not suffice?
You see, at times I look at this country and leadership, and I wonder what actually motivates some of the decisions we make. Of course, there is a disaster in Jamaica. We've had disasters across the world, including even our own country here. Disasters happen day in and out. And we are part of the Committee of Nations. So there's nothing wrong for us to also be seen to contribute to international disasters, no matter how small it is. It's like being in your community and then having someone suffer a disaster, and everybody tries to contribute something to bring relief to the people. But two things. The first concern is there should be transparency in terms of what we deliver when it comes to humanitarian support. And actually some policy guidance as a country in terms of our foreign relations, our foreign policy, and how we want to handle matters of this nature. Clearly, this administration has not shown any major policy direction when it comes to our foreign policy arrangement. Across, since they took office, a lot of the things that they have done as a government has one way or the other deviated from Ghana's standardized position when it comes to foreign policy.
Really?
If you take this bringing in of U.S. detainees, which of our foreign policy direction supported that kind of arrangement to bring detainees, Americans, foreigners who have been detained by American government for one reason or the other, to Ghana to be hosted and later either deported or what have you. Even the agreement when we said it should be brought to Parliament for Parliament's ratification, up to today, what has happened to it? Because of some interest that the government or benefits that they wanted from America, we shifted away from our principle, our foreign policy direction of either protecting fundamental human rights of people, making sure that Ghana is a non-allied country in terms of how we engage our foreign international relations. And so there's no consistency when it comes to the way our foreign policy direction is going. But importantly, in terms of giving to bodies like or countries like the Jamaica matter, there should be transparency in terms of the things that we want to donate. our forces that we are sending there, what are the Ghanaian soldiers even go for UN peacekeeping and the rest, and their entitlements are taken by government and they don't pay. Even when it is being paid by UN. We don't end up giving them what is due them. So these troops that we are taking to Jamaica to go and assist them, what are the rules of engagement for our troops? Is it going to be business as usual as if they are operating in Ghana? Where is the funding coming from? What provision has been made in terms of financing this, knowing that from the budget that we appropriate in a year, these contingency arrangements and the rest, you don't easily find them, and then the Minister of Finance or government should have told us exactly where they are moving, because it's not part of the general financial appropriation that we give to the service groups or forces. And so there's a lot for government to come out and explain to us. But why? Disasters that have happened in Ghana, what has been government's own response to disasters that happen in Ghana? We've been in this country, buildings are collapsed, accidents happen on the roads, and when you need our own military, look at all the bad roads that we talk about that are killing people day in and out. And now, why haven't we deployed our regiments to assist in making sure that we improve on some of these things even before formal contracts and the rest are awarded? So we have them there, we don't use them for what is fit and purpose, and then we turn around, and when it comes to these things, we want to play, well, I don't know whether they want to show some, or is the AU chairmanship that he wants in 2027.
That's what that one is confirmed.
It's confirmed that he'll be AU chairman.
He'll be AU chairman.
Them give up. He has to go to the.
You should be proud of me. You should be happy.
Oh, why not? If my president is AU chairman, but AU chairman, what is he bringing to this country apart from the name that he was AU chairman? Because in this country, we are not feeling it. So. The military, we have a very, 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 very strong, disciplined armed forces. But again, our actions as a country in utilizing them, and I say, if you pay all of these military people on a yearly basis, but you don't get them do the things that they are known to do, then what is their use? Because now, unless there are major attacks against us and the rest, we hardly get wars that you are saying. Every day we are also recruiting. Well, recently we said we're going to recruit over 4,000 men. We're paying them, but on a yearly basis, what has been their own operational guidance that improves the well-being of Ghanaians? Because the problems that we face, a good number of them could have been given to the armed forces to intervene and help us resolve. And so for me, I don't see much in terms of what government seeks to achieve. I'm okay if we are going out there to support any disaster internationally. We want to show that Ghana too, we care. But there's a lot more we need to do for ourselves, and we should be open. We should be transparent. This government is taking a lot of things for granted. I don't know, this super majority thing that they've enjoyed, it's eating so much into them that they think they can do everything except change a man into a woman. No, that what you can do. You want to change men into women.
Well, if it's brought before Parliament.
So there's so much.
They can pass a transgender law.
They can pass a transgender
law tomorrow.
Now you don't even, they are just doing anything that they think will be.
Very well. Just a little bit on the UN peacekeeping allowances. The Ghanaian forces held a press conference to, if you like, put some education to it, or to debunk some of the things that were put out. It says $46 per day per, I think $46 per day per troop contributing countries, and it says out of the $46, $35 is paid directly to the soldier. The government takes $11 troop welfare and logistics. So just a bit of clarity on that. But Honorable Hassan, your thoughts on this? Minority wants you to be transparent in your dealings.
I honestly don't know what else they are asking for. You see, that is why Parliament is there. So and that is why we also have the Right to Information Act. I say, if you feel that something is going on that you do not have enough information on, all you have to do is to trigger the necessary processes. And if you do that and you still don't get the response you desire, then that's when you can begin to shout. You understand? But you made a call on the minister to come and update Parliament. The same day that the call was made, the minister was summoned to Parliament. And he came and gave a lengthy briefing on the entire package. I don't know what else we can call. So assuming minority had made that call and the minister had not shown up to provide those updates to Parliament, then that is when, to me, they could have been crying that there's no transparency, there's something being hidden from Ghanaians. But to the extent that they did not even allow the next day to come, the same day that the call was made, the minister was summoned to Parliament and he gave a lengthy 7-page briefing to Parliament on this. I don't know what else we can call transparency. You understand? This is a minister who has always told Ghanaians that since January 7th, 2025, the government has always been pursuing Ghana's long-standing diplomatic policy. You understand? Empathy, solidarity, international responsibility, the South-South cooperation. We have not deviated, and I wish to disagree with my colleague here, as a bomber, that we have since we have kind of deviated from what the norm has been. One, it is not new that Ghana has donated some support, provide some support to another country. That is not new.
Recently, we did same for Israel.
Even Nanado did same in several years. When we had the mudslide in Sierra Leone in 2017, in Freetown itself, Nanado did a donation. At that time, we had issues in Ghana. See, you don't always have to be able to resolve all your issues before you can begin to extend a helping hand. That is why he has said it already, that we are a committee of nations. You don't need to necessarily be full before you can think of your neighbor. And to the extent that we are given this helping hand in furtherance of our belongingness to this international community, and that we have a responsibility as a player in that space. I do not see what is wrong with that. And the minister, in his answer to Parliament yesterday, gave a detailed breakdown of whatever was presented. In fact, almost everything was. And then he says that even the 10 million package that was announced, it's not just for Jamaica, it's for 3 countries: Jamaica, Cuba, and Sudan. And he gave the ratio, how that whole package will be divided among these 3 nations. And to me, I think they should rather be commended. And I've seen Isaac trying to bring in the issue of the deportees and the arrangement. The government went in and how the whole thing is shrouded in. As for me, you see, anybody anywhere can jump into any plane, especially if you're an African, and come to Ghana. Once you're an African, free entry, at least for 90 days. And so were we saying that those people, because they have an issue with the US government, if they are coming into our country, we should block them?
Were they coming willingly? Were they coming on their own?
You see, one, if the government, the US government, is bringing them to Ghana, do they have access to your country? That is one thing. They do. Uninhibited access.
Do they have similar access to their own countries?
Yes, they do.
So why Ghana?
They do. But they chose to come to Ghana.
They didn't choose.
They chose to come to Ghana.
They didn't choose. They were imposed on us. They were dumped on us.
So you see, if you come to Ghana
for visa restrictions.
That's all. So let's not even go there. If you want to go there, we'll manage the discussion.
You won't manage the discussion. The issue is that they can enter and leave. At least within 90 days, they have the right to leave the country.
Let's not go there.
You understand? And you see, for diplomacy, it plays out in various ways. And I don't see what hidden arrangement the government may have gone into with the US government for which reason they will accept this package. But to the extent that these people are Africans, to me, at least we are not bringing in people who are not one of us. We are bringing in our own Africans.
The gateway to the Africans.
When you establish
let's not digress. That conversation will open a Pandora's box.
We were crying foul. You see, you justified it. So I honestly don't see anything wrong with that.
If the minister had briefed the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House prior to the deployment of these troops, would they have settled matters? Instead of that thing happening and then he being summoned to come with a 7-page whatever.
You see, sometimes you may, if you want to come to me, and I call you at the same time, or even before you come to me, I call you. It's not the same thing.
But this decision was not taken yesterday.
No, but assuming the minister was planning to meet the Foreign Affairs Ministry, but then a call came for
after
him
he
to come.
deploys the people, after he sends the release.
No, it's that because you have to have arranged. Maybe this a natural disaster. They have to respond to it immediately, and so that arrangement to deploy. Once you are not doing something illegal, you can always do it and come and brief and update the committee or the entire parliament. And so, as to whether he came before he was called or he was called before he showed up, it's neither here nor there. The fact is that the briefing that was required has been provided, and we are all satisfied. In fact, after the briefing, you could hardly hear of anything again because the briefing was so detailed. Talk of every item that was going to be delivered and what percentage each country was getting. So there's nothing hidden.
But they insist that charity begins at home.
Which one are you
so
when Nanado went to the border, when we had the Akosombo spillage, and Nanado went there, what didn't he tell the people? What did he tell the people? He said they didn't even vote for him. How can you go into such an environment, a situation like that, where people are badly affected by this disaster, and you are talking about votes? You understand? But we have gotten a president who will not even talk about that thing, but who will look at everything. And like I said, you don't need to necessarily resolve all the issues within your country before you begin to. When we did the donation to Sierra Leone in 2017 by Nanado, had we resolved all the issues we had in this country? No. You can never get to that stage. In fact, if we had the Ghana-Guinea that that we had, where Dr. Kwame Nkrumah gave about $10 million US of Ghana's money to Guinea at the time. This was in the 60s. We held it. We had serious challenges as a country at that time. And so that extension of diplomatic hand to fellow countries should not be seen as somebody who has neglected his domestic responsibilities in pursuit of a foreign something. No. And so let's commend the government. I think I agree with them when they say there should always be the need to provide the information. Maybe the timeless of the provision of the information may be an issue. So the minister should take a cue from this and then update, especially Parliament, because Parliament needs to know whatever is going on, especially when it has to do with playing with this international partners. So at any point, is that the minister should endeavor to provide that update to Parliament. Maybe that is what we can say. But to the extent that what is being done is in pursuit, is in furtherance of whatever we are doing as a nation. Because we have never said that we have to finish everything we have locally. Even America, even with what that they are doing for other countries, they have serious issues in their country than you can ever imagine. But they still are able to provide that support to other countries.
Very well. Obviously, I'll come to you. Let me take a few messages, go on a break, and then I'll come to you so you can give us your submission on this. This one says, good morning, Nana. It's difficult to comment on the Bawku conflict at this period. Let's leave issues of this nature in the hands of fair historians, archaeologists, and non-partisan recognized chiefs to mediate between the two factions. Each conflict area has its own dynamics. I'm pleading with politicians to stay away from such issues in any traditional area in the country. They hide behind politics to gain their wishes, disintegrate the citizenry, and create hatred among us. This is Kwayu Mafo of Kwawu Jamase. This one says, at this moment, all that we need is peace. However, your panelists should also consider that enforcement comments should be toned down, and let's get high-ranking people to prevail on the Nairi on the relevance of peace to all the sides, and maybe that will work. I also agree with Mr. Dako that a rotational enskinment will do. The mediation report made one a winner and one a loser, and that is what the problem is. This is Chairman Inusa sending that one in. You can also send us your thoughts, your comments, and contributions. This is Breakfast Daily. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us. Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily here on Channel One Television. We're having the news review segment. I'm going to Elvis Daco now to pick his thoughts on this, if like our bilateral relations and support we're extending to Jamaica after they were battered by Hurricane Melissa, and of course the extension to Sudan and to Cuba. Elvis, the minority wants some clarity, explanations regarding the support we are extending. But this is something we've done over the years. So what has changed?
Well, sometimes I always say that we appear to be confused on so many things that sometimes I don't understand. The reason we said we will not have a parliament that is completely independent of government is that we want collaboration for work to be done. So we want MPs also to be ministers, so that working between the executive and the legislature will be smooth. So we kept that arrangement. So means that when certain things happened and parliament, one side of the parliament is complaining, I ask myself, then maybe let's do total separation. Because what is happening in our system is, it looks as if we are rather running a system where the executive feels that whatever they are doing, they are the executive, and they don't need to inform parliament until somebody decides to call them and question. Is it what we are talking about? It's a shame that you even hear a section of Ghanaians or the minority complaining about it. I thought that because of the system we have, in matters like this, all the president needs to do is to call the leadership for parliament. Call the majority, call the speaker, say, look, we know that you are supposed to put us in check. This thing we are doing it for Ghana. It's not about party or anything. This is what we want to do. This is the rationale behind it. So if you hear us announce it tomorrow, this is what we are doing. I believe that a lot of these things could be done behind the doors if the executive extends that hand to parliament. And the minority will not come out today be saying this if the executive had called leadership of parliament and said, look, we believe that we want to support our fellows in Jamaica, Sudan, and Cuba. This is what government thinks we want to do. This is already we've done. So we, as parliament, definitely some of this, you have to be asking the questions on behalf of the people. So we are informing you before we come and tell the Ghanaian people. I believe that if this kind of collaborations happen more, a lot of the questions or the things people, especially the opposition, asks about government actions will reduce. And if you do that, it helps your government. Do you know what? Because a lot of the things that people see as attack on government will not even exist, because then you have actually always ensured that there's this kind of good relationship between you and parliament. What we are talking about, you see, the people of Jamaica will think that there's a section of Ghanaians who are against what Ghana wants to do for them, because it's on the internet. There'll be a section of people in Cuba who will say a section of Ghanaians are against what Ghana government wants to do. But I don't think that any Ghanaian is against what government wants to do. But it's because of this collaboration that is not there, and minority now is asking questions. They are sitting in their country, they don't understand the political system we are, or how we do things here. So they will think that government of Ghana said they are supported, but the opposition party seems to be against it. They are now asking the government why it is doing that. That's how they will interpret it. And it doesn't help us in terms of the kind of image we want to create in the minds of the people we are helping. You see, when we are doing this thing, is to establish a certain relation, not only with the government of that country, but with also the people of that country. You understand it? So we should just try and do some of these things in a better way. Because when you are trying, this is a serious diplomacy issue. So there shouldn't be questions coming from within the country to suggest that a certain group of people or a certain political party doesn't want that support. Because that is how the people in those countries will interpret it. And I said that, look, for instance, how would the people of Cuba be feeling if they hear the minority say some of these things? Because here is the case, we all know that Cuban doctors have sacrificed, come to this country, gone to deeper part of our country to help us in healthcare for all these years. They have sacrificed to do this for us in all these years. So if we are extending this small support. It is nowhere near what they have done for us. So if we have extended this small support to Cuba, there shouldn't be any voice that should be questioning it in this country. It should be unanimous that this is what Ghana has done. But the moment they hear they say the opposition is now questioning the government, the people of Cuba would ask, and then it means that all that we have been doing for Ghana, this opposition, but they have not seen it, and that the small support that their country was now, they are asking questions. So I think that some of these things, the executive should understand that they have the power to make those decisions. But if they collaborate with Parliament and are able to give them prior information on some of these things, because this is an international agreement, and the Ghanaian law says anything that is international agreement should go through Parliament. And therefore, even if it doesn't need parliamentary approval, just do this backdoor conversation with Parliament. Oh, this is Ghana. We think that what is happening in Sudan, there's a serious humanitarian crisis over there. We think that we can contribute our little quota to support. Oh, in Jamaica, they have been hit by the disaster. We want to send troops there to just go and help and do ABCD. In all these three instances, I don't see anything negative about it. I think all the three things we want to do are very good for us. And do you know something? Ghanaians are in every country in the world. Indeed. Ghanaians have traveled, and they are in every country in the world. And when your country is doing things like this, what it does is, it makes the people of those countries see your citizens living in their country differently. Because then they see them as, these are people who care about us. When we had problems, their government extended support to us. And therefore, they want to treat the Ghanaians living there differently. They want to respect them. They want to give them the opportunity, because when they were in distress, the government of their country extended support to them. So we are doing all these things to open doors for us as a country and open doors for Ghanaians. So it is a very good thing that when things happen like this and we want to support as a country, we shouldn't always be concerned that we have our problems. No. In America, there are 500,000 plus people who sleep on the street in the night. They have no place to sleep. They are homeless. But go and check the budget the American spends to help countries around the world. And there are voices in America say, why should people be sleeping on the street when the government spends so much money to go and support other countries? But that is why America has a special place in the heart of everybody around the world. Do you understand? That is why every country sees America as a good country. That's why everybody, when you are dealing with American citizens, you are dealing with a person in a different situation. So we must understand that what the government is doing it for all of us as Ghanaians. That tomorrow, if I ended up traveling to Jamaica, maybe at the airport, the immigration will say, what if we see Ghana? Oh, Ghana. Okay, you go. Why? Because it's read in the news. It's seen on television that when they had problems, Ghana deployed troops to come and help them. When I landed in Cuba, they said, oh, you understand? So let's see these things as in the supreme interest of Ghana. But the only reason there are voices questioning some of this from the minority side is that there has not been prior engagement by the executive. Because the executive feel that we are governing. So whatever decisions that are supposed to be taken, they are our decisions, so we don't need to inform the minority. But you see, as I said, that is why we have a governance system that says that let's not do straight separation of powers, where Parliament has no interaction with the executive. We said let's keep a system that will make government business run smoothly. So let MPs become ministers of state. I think that executive in the Fourth Republic, with this beautiful arrangement, have not really made good use of it the way they interact with Parliament over issues. Because see, there are so many things government can do, and they can do it that even it may break the Ghanaian law. But because there has been backdoor interaction, nobody will question it. Read the WikiLeaks and see how the American government broke several American laws in several decisions they took. Do you think that the American Congress was not aware? They are aware. Do you think that the people, there are so many decisions that are aware, but they see it as in the supreme interest of their country. So I want to appeal to the executive that we know that they are the ones who decide this is what the Ghana want to do, this is what Ghana want to do. But I believe that they should adopt that collaborative approach more. They should do more with it. Because if a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the president, don't let him be the minister, foreign minister go and do. President says, Speaker, I want to see you and both leadership. I want to have a conversation. And they come. So you say, you know, this is what we went to cabinet, this is the decision. But I think that some of these things, executives alone should not be announcing it. So we want to let you in before the announcement comes, and they have that friendly meeting. Maybe Parliament will even ask the president to add more money because with what we are even doing is not enough based on the discussion. So I believe that let's not see. People are not in Ghana, so when they read these things on the internet, the perception they will have is that maybe the minority is against what the government is doing.
Yeah.
They may not see it as minority questioning maybe legal issues. They may think, if Ghana wants to support us and now the minority is saying, why did the government do it? They may think that the minority is actually not against them.
Yeah.
But that is what somebody who is not in this country will look at it.
Okay.
So let's see these things in the Supreme. There are many Ghanaians in Cuba. There are many. Go to Jamaica. There are Ghanaians there.
Ghanaians there.
So
Ghanaians are everywhere, actually.
So if our government is doing things for this country, we should also see it as opening doors for our people who are living there. That people there see us as a good country, and they will see them as good people whose country have come to their rescue in times of difficulty.
All right, thank you, Elvis. Let's do MPP politics now. The flag bearer race is drawing close. January 31st is just around the corner, but some of the things that is being said on the campaigns is, I don't know. I mean, I can understand that at this point you are speaking to the delegates, the grassroots, and so the messaging will be different and will be tailored towards what the grassroots want, not necessarily a national policy. That will have to come from the flag bearer, indeed, when he's elected. But the personal attacks, the back and forth, I don't know, Honorable, from where you sit, how difficult are the various campaign teams making it for the party to unite after the presidential race?
Very, very difficult times for us as a political party. I sit as a member of the Presidential Elections Committee.
Right.
And so, actually, even this morning at 10, we will be meeting the Inspector General of Police and the police leadership to discuss modalities, security modalities for the elections come 31st of January.
Is it open to the press?
No. It's behind closed doors.
But hopefully you brief us after.
Oh, definitely. We've had a very open committee in terms of how we are running these elections. We meet all the presidential aspirants and their teams bi-monthly. So hopefully even next week, yesterday or 2 days ago, the aspirant representatives have been working with our team to finalize the album. You know, so any questions that people have raised from the work that the committee did in validating the album for the elections, we've shared with them. They've come up with concerns and we are resolving all of those things. And so it's been a very smooth exercise in terms of the organization of the elections and also the direction from the national executives and the National Council in terms of setting up various groupings. So we have a committee that is also supposed to manage these petitions, and then you know, we gave amnesty for those who in time past have conducted themselves against the constitution of the party, amongst others. The only area we're trying to make sure that they will not be entitled to vote are the forfeitures. Those who campaigned against the parliamentary candidates or the president. And even that, we are trying to bring finality to the matter. So Peter Makimenu has been chairing that committee dealing with amnesty amongst others, and also reconciliation even before we go into the elections and it's thereafter. We had a very fine process. Once a while people were going overboard and they were spoken to, you come back to normalcy, and then later you hear a lot more people also. So as we've near the elections, I think these past days some comments have been passing through that I think are worrying. You know, this party is not in normal times.
Indeed.
We've gone to an election where our performance were below expectation. And we want to come back to power in 2028. That is our ultimate goal. Repositioning the party, making sure that we engage Ghanaians better, let Ghanaians see us as a credible alternative political party to the NDC for 2028. And so all that we are doing is supposed to help us position ourselves. And so you don't expect leadership in terms of campaign executives or supporters of various political aspirants or presidential aspirants to go the way and manner they are going, and the comments they pass. The past elections that we went, a lot of the campaign messages by the NDC and the slogans were our own words.
Indeed.
They played our own words against us, whether they were true or not. So, you say, one way crocodile fee is so I said about the country say so even when they were not true, we couldn't say anything about it because it came from within. And people that you would have to understand that they know this party inside out. So it is completely out of order for senior members of the party to go out there and be hating one on another, trying to bring people's past life into question, trying to question people's ability to even be at UN General Assembly meetings and how they are going to conduct themselves and all of those things. I believe they are necessary for now.
Very well.
Let's be pleased with our party. As we go into Christmas, let this serve as an end to all those utterances that divides us. Because at the end of the day, whoever becomes the flag bearer would have to bring all on board.
True.
So by conduct, if you were insulting them, you didn't react to concerns and comments and the rest, and those people lose, how are you going to bring them on board? And until we unite as a political party, we should forget about power. Because you need your own numbers first before you can go out there and appeal to either floating voters or others who are not die-hard supporters of our party. So if you don't bring your numbers together totally, then you shouldn't be thinking about taking power. So let's be very mindful.
Let me give you always some 2 minutes on this MPP thing. I don't know. I see a very funny picture that if we go at each other this way and eventually we elect one person, there will be grievances at the end of the day. And then again, the person that I have damaged so much, how do I support that person to win against or to win in 2028?
Well, you need to understand that, see, I said it and I'll say it, that, see, the MPP should know that they themselves are destroying their chances for winning 2028. Because the way they are going, they are further dividing the party and creating more pain among themselves. Many of their supporters decide not to go and vote. They themselves will tell you that they go to their people and they ask them to go and vote, and they said they will not vote on voting day. Because they felt that things have happened in government. People were pissed, people were angry. So they said, let the party come to a position so that they will all be equal. So people, there are people who celebrated their own defeat because they felt that the way the governance had gone, some people were favored above others. They've lost an election. You as a party think that you want to come back in 2028 and you are running a primaries, and the primaries all you are doing is to further divide yourself, create more factions, say hurtful things to people in the name of politics, and think that after the primaries can go to the person and say, so forget about whatever I've said is politics. You see, I said it and I say we are humans and we all have emotions. So if you say hurtful things to somebody in the name of politics, don't assume that after the election you go back to the person and say, oh, we said all those things because it is politics. Come and let's work. The person will look at you and smile in front of you. Okay? But within the person is not going to join you. The person will not wish that you win. The person will never work for you to win. Even the person had the chance to be at a place that is influential and can cause your defeat, the person will do it.
Will do it.
That is what it is. So I don't see how a party within yourself, you want to elect a flag bearer, and instead of you telling your people, oh, if given the chance, this is how I'm going to strengthen the party from the grassroots all the way to the top. This is how I'm going to make sure that opportunities that will come in government, this is how I'm going to make sure that it is well distributed for everybody who matters to also, or who has worked for the party to come to power, to also get something that will make the person happy. This is how you make sure that the party becomes stronger, and everybody that fought for the party to come to power is not sidelined in government. This is how you believe that everybody will be given an opportunity, or those who work for the party to come. I think these are the messages that they should be preaching, but it has turned into a personal attack. It has turned into like, it's as if they are fighting their enemies. This is within your own party. So I have said that if the NPP think that they have any chance in 2028, their behavior in the primaries is already a reason why their 2028 chances are slim. And they must understand that unless the NDC actually mismanage or does things so badly, or the NDC's own primaries also become so bad that they also be so divided. But if the NDC should manage their primaries better than what the NPP is doing, and they don't create much division among themselves, then the NPP has created a bigger problem for themselves. Because I always say that, see, when you're going to an election, you need the full support, at least 80 to 90% of your base to be behind the candidate that you are presenting. Then you have a chance of winning. But if you are going to an election, and let's say about 20-30% of your base are backing a candidate who feels that they have not been fairly treated, or you set up people to come and insult and attack me. So if I lose, myself and my supporters, we are not going to make sure that you win. Then you have already created a big problem for us. So what they are doing, they can only pray and hope, because they've already done the damage already. The NPP has already done the damage already. They can only pray and hope that the NDC's primaries also becomes that nasty, that the NDC will be so divided. Then maybe they can say, okay, then we are equally in the same boat. So but if the NDC manages their primaries better than what the NDC is doing, then it put the NDC ahead, and they should know that NDC already has a cabinet advantage of being in government.
Let me give the final minutes to Honorable Alassane. I know there is a temptation to say but touch on it briefly.
I just want to say that, well, I wish the NPP very well, and I'm happy that they are doing a lot of consultations to be able to have a fruitful primary, except that the way they started, you see, I feel they would if in the end they don't get to succeed in 2028, they should blame themselves.
Right.
You see, you don't elect a candidate with a base that will not be the base to campaign for him in the coming elections. You see, you are giving some group of people an opportunity to elect a candidate down for another group to come and take that candidate and campaign. That is very dangerous. You see, if now we are talking about base, if you allow the base to elect the candidate, and then you tax that base to work for the candidate to succeed, it is their making. They will ensure that their decision comes to fruition. Whoever they have elected would definitely succeed. But if today, in fact, this is the first time we are having this, and you see, when you have suffered such a major defeat, you should be careful some of the decisions you take. You don't take a decision that is very new, that is a novelty. It is an uncharted area, and you are not even consulting enough in taking that decision, and you think just by getting a flag bearer everything is right. You see, so as for me, that decision to elect their flag bearer first before electing the other executives down to the branch executives is very dangerous, and it is what will cause them the next elections. The last thing I want to add is that in their consultations and discussions, they should try and include the former president.
Okay.
You understand? So they should widen that net of consultation.
We have to go about 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
So this decision to elect flag bearer first is a National Council decision, constitutional. and everybody who is MPP, whether it is this group that elected the flag bearer, and then you go through another process for people. We are all New Patriotic Party. And whoever, when we went to do this election, it wasn't those who elected the flag bearer that were only mandated to elect the president.
Right.
And so if those who brought the first flag bearer were the same people to make him president, we would have won the election. It is about unity of purpose. It is about oneness. It is about understanding that we have a common goal, and that goal is to secure power come 2028.
Well.
However we go through it, once we elect our flag bearer, we will come together as a political party. We will work hard. The negatives that are ongoing, we have to minimize it, and then we will come back and serve the good people.
Thank you very much, Honorable Alassane, Honorable Buamanyako. Thank you, Elvis Dako. Thank you also for joining us and for sending your messages through. But please don't go away. Philip Nilate is here. Chris Carter is also here. They'll steer the boat to the end of the ocean. Stay with us. We'll be right back.